Yeah, I'm live, everybody. We are live, and I'm going to be covering today's crazy event that happened. Once I saw this tweet here, I knew I got the impression that I was witnessing something crazy. Well, I was watching live earlier today. Let's see who we got in the house. We got Jerry here. Looks like we're having some buffering problems. Yep, there's nothing we can do about that. But hopefully the audio's let me know. Okay, we're going to start in just a minute. I want to mention that, or the day after, I got another video coming. This one's about Bart K. Yep, I want to get back into, I'm definitely getting back into diet videos. But you know, I'm going to have to cover some news at some time. Well, this is going to be worth it. Just like my last video about Rudy Giuliani.
Hugo Chavez. I mean, it was quite a thing. The only thing missing was a sinister figure, Pat.
The newly fired election official Chris Krebs agrees, saying, quote, that press conference was the most dangerous hour and 45 minutes of television in American history. Now, the Trump campaign is disrupting.
Let's see. Are we lucky? Are we lucky? Yeah. I have the feeling that this is going to be really entertaining, and I don't think I'd want to miss this. I like crazy. I cover a lot of crazy. And I've seen enough dangerous anyway. Here we go again with Rudy Giuliani.
Now, the Trump campaign is describing that news conference as simply an opening, asking the public and the media.
Yeah, see, we'll get to this, but this was a long press conference, and yet it was considered, right, we'll discuss later why I'm noticing here, it's considered an opening argument. An opening argument in court wouldn't last this long. Well, maybe it would. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, even before they started, the box was showing the scene for like 10 minutes or so, like it's a big deal, and it seemed like a big deal. And now, here we are in the evening, and we have confirmation this was a big deal. So we're going to want to see some of those.
To make their case in court, but with state certification deadlines rapidly approaching, time is running out. John?
We'll see if all of this bears fruit in court. Kristen Fisher at the White House tonight. Kristen, thanks. President-elect Joe Biden says he will not shut down the economy again over the coronavirus. Biden also said...
Okay. Let's see here. And here it is. Are we ready? Yes. Okay, here's the opening scene.
Room, I'm assuming with the campaign potentially, or maybe a staff member or something, some forth, came up and took down the cover on that. And Marie, as I come to you, these are the multiple pathways to victory, perhaps, that the president was out with less specificity just a few hours ago ahead of this news conference with the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, who's acting.
So, not only are they showing it, they're not even showing it in a small screen. They got the full screen, and they're talking about it. Like that, so they got information ahead of time. And they're discussing it. So this big. Just a second. Got to move the computer closer here. Okay, the audio is going to be good now. Get it real close. Okay. So
behalf with all of the lawsuits that are being pressed now by the Trump campaign 2020, and then Jenna Ellis, who is a senior legal advisor. So as they step up to the lectern, we now can see more about what they're thinking in terms of legality.
senior legal advisor. Now that would just be her title here, so which means they just gave her that title. More on that later. It's like most of my videos. The more you go through them, the better they get. Builds. See, I like to set up my videos. I like to tell you the backstory. That makes it all the better. Okay, watch them come out.
Maria, just come to you.
Okay, here they are. All right, here they come.
There's something very different between saying we need to make sure mail-in balloting is secure and what the president is doing, which is saying he won, that it was a rigged election. It was not. This was a free and fair election. And for all of us who are stoking some of these fears that somehow Donald Trump had this taken from him unfairly, it's really harmful to democracy.
All right, Maria, I have to step in.
We can talk about how to
Thank
make
you.
voting better.
The president's legal team is here and going live, and that is Rudy Giuliani. Let's watch.
Representative of our legal team. We're representing President Trump, and we're representing the Trump campaign. When I finish, Sidney Powell and then Jenna Ellis will follow me, and we will present in brief the evidence that we've collected over.
So I saw this first 5 minutes, and there was some good stuff in here. I don't know what just happened. I'm having TV problems too. Okay. I've never had this problem before.
It is 2 weeks. Also, Joseph DeGenever, Victoria Tenzinger here with me. There are a lot more lawyers working on this, but we're the senior lawyers, and Boris Epstein. So,
Okay. See that? I took note of that when I was watching. There's 5 or 6 of them, and he wanted to tell us that these are just the senior lawyers, and there's a lot more in their team. Then I found out a couple hours later that the reason he felt that like he wanted to tell us that is to get us to believe that was true. It turns out these are the people who are left on his team. Going back here, the wide shot. Do you recognize that guy? That's that guy that was making the news in the last few days. I think so. I'm not sure. It's the guy that Trump spotted on Fox News and liked him, so he put him on his team. There he is. I thought he didn't like him after meeting him, though. That was the news. But I guess, no, I don't want to spread rumors here. But is it that Trump is actually running out of people who are willing to work with him? That's just what it seems. All right. Okay, the next thing comes up here.
And we will working on this, but we're the senior lawyers and board.
Okay, and watching for a second time, you notice different things. There's more to notice. Now, she was smiling before that. And let's watch and see if she actually is smiling through the entire press conference for no reason. Well, there's a reason. Maybe we'll talk about that later. And then they find that funny that he brings up that we're the senior lawyers. Why do they find that funny? From where I'm sitting, they seem to be laughing because it's a joke. But he didn't say it like it was a joke.
I guess the best way to describe this is when we began our representation of the president, we certainly were confronted with a very anomalous set of results. The president way ahead on election night, 700,000 or 800,000 in Pennsylvania. Somehow he lost Pennsylvania. We have statisticians willing to testify that that's almost statistically impossible to have happened in the period of time that it happened.
The period of time? It took like 3 days of counting. That's ridiculous. These are the same people who said, we should have the results on election night. No. Now, there's going to be so much to debunk here and critique, and I don't want to take too long. Hopefully you already know. I'll be brief, though. He's the third person that I've heard say that Trump was up by 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania. And I verified that was true. That part's true. But then the three of them said it's mathematically impossible. Now, the first two said that. For Biden to have caught up. And now he's saying it's almost impossible. Well, I did some math on that. I can make a whole video on that. But it's not worth the trouble if it doesn't get a lot of views. So, but yeah, I did the math on that, and it seemed like it was hard to believe Biden could catch it, but I did the math, and the numbers are there. Especially when you consider the votes that were counted last and take longer are the mail-in ballots, and those were the ones where people mostly voted for Joe Biden. And a lot of those people live in Philadelphia.
But of course, that's just speculation.
And it's not speculation, it's bullshit. Everyone knows what I just said. Everybody else. We knew weeks before the election. Trump made that happen. Actually, well, he slowed down mail-in. He slowed down the post office, so it's even worse. Meanwhile, he was telling his supporters to not vote by mail, vote in person, and those were the ones counted first. And he knows that. That's why I'm wearing this hat. She is bananas.
As we started investigating, both our investigations and the very patriotic and brave American citizens that have come forward are extraordinary.
See how he had to throw in some words there that are not they're not necessary, but he threw them in? That's rhetoric. Hey, look. You see that? Let's see here. See that pop-up I just got over there? There we go. Oh, it just went away. Oh, I clicked on it. No, I didn't click on it. As I'm making this video, the Young Turks puts up a video, and it's called Rudy Giuliani literally melting down during press conference. Yeah, I just found that hashtag on Twitter as I was telling people I'm going live, and I saw Rudy Giuliani meltdown, and it took me a couple seconds. It's a different kind of meltdown. Yeah, we want to get to that. I'm surprised the Young Turks took this long to get to this. I'm on live earlier than them, and I didn't even see it. I haven't seen it yet. I just got word. Maybe they were busy doing other stuff.
Extraordinary number of people, extraordinary number of witnesses, and what emerged very quickly is there's not a singular voter fraud in one state. This pattern repeats itself in a number of states.
What voter fraud? See, you'll notice that he plays a good game, talks a good game, and it could fool a lot of people who don't know any better. But notice what he's not saying through this whole thing.
Almost exactly the same pattern, which to any experienced investigator, prosecutor, would suggest that there was a plan from a centralized place to execute these various acts of voter fraud, specifically focused on big cities, and specifically focused on, as you would imagine, big cities controlled by Democrats, and particularly focused on big cities that have a long history of corruption. The number of voter fraud cases in Philadelphia could fill a library.
When are we going to see those? And it's not surprising that this happens in the big cities where there's a lot of Biden voters, because that's where most of the Biden voters live, and that is where they're looking, where the Biden voters live. They're only looking at Biden votes, ballots, to try to discredit those. Of course, clown conference. And this goes on. This goes on for an hour and a half. And you can't criticize CNN for not covering this. They were spot on. This guy is a joke. Does not deserve to be put on the news. So Fox News covered it.
Just a few weeks ago, there was a conviction for voter fraud, and 2 weeks before that.
That's two cases in 3 weeks. That happens every election. Everyone.
And I've often said, I guess sarcastically, but it's true, the only surprise I would have found in this is if Philadelphia hadn't cheated in this election. Because for the last 60 years, they've cheated.
So I like to see people's reactions.
Philadelphia hadn't cheated.
States don't cheat. People cheat. See, this is pure manipulation. And that's basically what I do on my channel. That's what I've been doing for many years, showing you what to look for when someone's trying to fool you. And so you should be good at it by now.
They've cheated in just about every single election.
See, it's bullshit. They, who's they? For 2 weeks now we hear about they.
You could say the same thing about Detroit. Each one of these cities are cities that are controlled.
But you can say the same thing about any red city, cities we haven't heard of. See, this is what's called a half-truth, except there's a ton of half-truths. It's not even half. Once you get done with the math, multiplying all the fractions.
Detroit. Each one of these cities are cities that are controlled by Democrats, which means...
What do you mean, controlled? No one controls cities. What does he mean by that? Well, he's about to tell us. Or is he?
By Democrats, which means they can get away with anything they want to do. It means they have a certain degree...
What country is he talking about?
Control over, certainly control the election board completely. And they control law enforcement. And unfortunately, they have some friendly judges that will issue...
See, what's angering about this? You should be angry about this. What's angering is people who are not as wise about politics, they'll tune in and see this. They will see a very mature lawyer on TV with a big team behind him and a bunch of American flags behind them, and they will think this is legit, when in fact he is just bullshitting. But he's so good at it. See, he's good at bullshitting. Trump is good at tricking people and manipulating situations.
Ridiculously irrational opinions just to come out in their favor. So let's start with the specifics. Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, the margin of victory now for Biden, which is not a victory, it's a fraud, is 69,140 votes. The reality is that we are now at a count of 682,770 ballots, for which we have affidavits that there was no inspection of that ballot at the time that it was entered in the vote. It was a mail ballot. Mail ballots are particularly prone to fraud.
No.
We were warned about that by Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter.
I would doubt that. And number two, that was about 45 years ago. And I'll bet he's also leaving something out there, because it's just not true. It's just not true today.
Secretary Baker, in a report about a dozen years ago, in which they said that mail balloting is particularly susceptible of fraud, that we should very carefully consider ever doing it, and that it can be taken advantage of. Justice Souter.
Some justice? Fuck the justices. It's a circus. The Supreme Court has turned into a circus.
They said that mail balloting is...
I want to hear who they...
In a report about a dozen years ago, in which they said that mail ballot... Carter, President Jimmy Carter, and Secretary Baker in a report about a dozen years ago, in which they said that mail balloting that it can be taken advantage of. Justice Souter warned us of the same thing in a comment in an election law case. And even the New York Times wrote articles.
But it doesn't mean they'd get away with it. There's more opportunity, maybe, for people to try to defraud the voting system. But they don't get away with that.
This mail-in voting was. And this is the first time we ever did it en masse. And I think we proved that all three are prophets. It's not only susceptible to fraud, it is easily susceptible to fraud, particularly if you have a plan or scheme which sounds eerily similar to what Joe Biden told us a few days before the election, that he had the best voter fraud team in the world. Well, they were good. I don't know that they were that good because they made significant mistakes, like all crooks do, and we caught them. One of them was pushing out Republican inspectors. Every state, almost every civilized country, even Tanzania and places you wouldn't think of, have rules about inspectors, particularly for mail-in ballots. And why particularly for mail-in ballots? Because they can more easily be defrauded, and you can't check on it. People who have never done a mail-in ballot, I'm going to show you why it's so easy. Well, you fill out an envelope like this. You put usually in New York it would be your assembly district and the precinct in which you're voting. You fill out your name and your address, and you sign it. You then use an inner envelope, and you put the ballot inside the inner envelope. You seal it all, and you send it in. When it's being counted, almost invariably in the United States, up until the mass cheating that went on in this election, a Republican and
which we have no proof of yet. We haven't seen much evidence.
A Democrat inspector, as well as others, if there are other parties, is allowed to watch the unsealing of this ballot. Used to go on all over America when we conducted honest elections. Because the only time you can ever find out if it's a fraudulent ballot is when it is looked at. The minute you approve this, it's
not true. There are other ways.
Thrown away, gone for eternity. The only thing left is to vote.
And see, I have studied this, how voting works, and he is correct right here.
That could have been Mickey Mouse. That could have been a dead person.
Yes, it could be anyone. Anyone could try to vote twice or vote for a dead person.
That could have been not filled out properly. That could have been the same person.
But see, the problem is Mickey Mouse's ballot would not be counted by the computers because he is not registered to vote. Because he trust me on this, he never registered. Because he is a mouse.
The same person 30 times. That could have been, and all these things have happened, by the way.
Yes, they have. And you know how we know they happened? Because they were caught.
That could have been nothing filled out. We never know. So, for example, the recount being done in Georgia will tell us nothing.
He just said we do know. he just said we're aware of all this stuff.
Because these fraudulent ballots will just be counted again because they would.
What fraudulent ballots? We gotta go back here. This is one heck of a show, isn't it? And without me here, going through all of this stuff and showing that it's a trick, a lot of people wouldn't know. They just wouldn't know. This guy is an expert. He is well seasoned.
Fraudulent ballots will just be counted again because they wouldn't supply the signatures to match the ballots. So it means nothing to have counted.
Oh, well, I see what he's saying here. He's saying doing a recount in Georgia is not going to matter because you're just going to be counting the same ballots. It won't find these type of fraudulent ballots. But the actual reason it's not going to find them is because they were thrown out beforehand. The computer will not allow two people to vote, one person to vote more than once. And that's done by matching a signature, the signature used when you registered to vote. It's really that simple.
These ballots because
this is why this guy's considered a joke now by everyone except for Fox News and Trump, who is a crazy person. Most news channels are not bothering to show this, but they have to cover it at some point because it's in the news.
For example, in Pennsylvania, where we have probably our most precise evidence, 682,770 of these ballots were cast, put in, and they weren't inspected, which renders them ballots that are null and void, cannot be counted, have to be removed from the vote. Why? For several reasons, not the least of which is that was basically only one of two places in the state where it was done. So in the other parts of the state, there was a legitimate inspection of the ballots. So if you have two different standards in different parts of the state, one favoring one part of the state, the other disfavoring the other part of the state, that's a classic violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution. Bush v. Gore being the most recent case that teaches that.
I'm a little lost. But I've been wondering, you've probably been wondering too, is who the heck is this bitch? And why is she still smiling? Well, you're going to find out who that is, but it's a fake smile, man. It's as fake as this whole news conference, press conference. And you know, I'm thinking, I was drifting and thinking, yeah, this does sound like an opening to a court case in which this should be in court, not on TV. Why should we have to see this? And you know why it's on TV? Anyone want to guess in the comments? Why is this on TV then? Yeah, there's no comments coming in. Oh, there's one. Let's see here. Okay. Rudy has fallen so far. Yeah. Good to see you debunking his lies. Yeah, I think it was last night. I was thinking of a tweet that I made up. A tweet said, Rudy Giuliani from America's most respected mayor to crazy clown helping a person to have a takeover of the government. Basically, Russia trying to take over our government, corrupt our government, at least. Okay, we're going to fast forward here because there's more to see besides this script. See, this just goes on and on. This guy, how can he do this? See, he can't be too crazy because he's doing this in a way that would be convincing to somebody who didn't know anything about all this stuff.
Show you her affidavit, because I know you keep reporting falsely that we have no evidence, that we have no specific acts of fraud.
Yeah.
That's because the coverage of this has been almost as dishonest as the scheme itself. The American people are entitled to know this.
See, this is how evil they are. I have a viewer that said disagrees with me that Trump is not evil. And I am continuing to ask him in videos, what do you call this? Parallel? What is this? He's making up voter fraud. He's polluting. He's polluting Americans' minds into thinking that our voting system is corrupt. And then on top of that, when the media and their guests, experts, and everybody say this is bullcrap, he then says the media is in on it. They're just as corrupt, doing even more damage to this country. What do you call that?
You don't have a right to keep it from them. You don't have a right to lie about it. And you are. I mean, you don't report to them.
That reminds me of something I said a few days ago. This is Trump's lawyer, and Trump's first campaign manager in 2016 said, quote, "I don't have an obligation to be honest to the media."
And you are. I mean, you don't report to them that a citizen of this country, a very fine woman, who is willing to allow me to give you.
I didn't go back far enough.
Know this. You don't have a right to keep it from them. You don't have a right to lie about it. And you are.
He is. This whole press conference is one big lie. I got another comment in. That woman is still smiling. Yep. Okay, we got a new commenter, Jim Rogers. To believe there is no voter fraud, no one is saying that. Jim is still believed than 2008 Obama. Yeah, to believe Joe Biden is more popular than 2008's Obama. No, that's a misreading of the election. Just because he's got more votes doesn't mean he's more popular. The reason both candidates got so many votes is because this election was highly publicized you could tell there was going to be a huge amount of voters. And it's just, politics has never been this heated before. Plus the fact that there's more people in the country now than 12 years ago. You could also say, how is Trump more popular now than he was 4 years ago before he killed 100,000 people? And if you don't buy into that idea, there's the 6 kids at the border, and on and on and on, just fucking up everything. And the good things he's done are highly debatable. They're not nearly as good, as he says. The economy was already nearly this as good. So what did you do? He is... everybody's like this now. That's completely crazy. See, he's not actually more popular. It's that more people voted.
A citizen of this country, a very fine woman, who is willing...
Very, very fine, very fine. Steve Bannon called Trump kind-hearted. These people just lie all the time. They say the opposite. And once you realize that they say the opposite, then you can figure them out easy by their words. Just flip everything. Okay, Jim Rogers has more comments. Joe Biden can't fill a parking lot. No, that is a stupid lie. It's a lie, people. They weren't trying to fill parking lots. You know this. The virus? See, there you go. Look, people, look in the comments, everyone. There's a liar that just showed up to spew the same bullshit that's so obvious. But he's got 2 more comments. Yeah, see, believing Joe Biden is more popular than 2016 Hillary is ludicrous. First of all, my other comment applies to that. There's more people just voting. Secondly, it is not ludicrous. Joe Biden should be much more popular than Hillary. Hillary's hated. No one hates Joe Biden. Joe Biden's been around for 40 years. He is super likable. So I don't know what you're talking about. There was obvious fraud. No, there isn't. You're just bullshitting. Either say something real or go away. And he's calling me biased. Look into the evidence. What do you mean, look? You know, like, it's the same bullshit, dude. Dude, I've been in dietary community online for the last 11 years. I can see the bullshit coming, dude. Look at the evidence. Just do a Google search. Fuck, dude. You idiots. Okay, Vegan Jerry's back. Oh, wait. Jim's back again with another comment. And this is after he's heard my rebuttal. See, people, this is how a debate would go with me. That's why nobody wants to come live on my channel. They just troll in the comments. He says, why would more people vote in an election that less people followed? Way more people were watching the 2016 election. It's just a fact. Vegan Jerry says that woman's name is Jenna Ellis. Yep. She's part of Trump's legal team. Yep. And she's going to speak. We want to get to that.
To allow me to give you her name. I can't give you all the...
I want to see this, though.
...them that a citizen of this country, a very fine woman, who is willing to allow me to give you her name.
Very fine makes me think of very fine people on both sides. Same type of language. Yep. Yeah, I'm picking this up.
All these affidavits, because if I do, these people...
But even though this is so sick and upsetting, because they're ruining our civilization here, it's still funny. Okay. The sickness is kind of funny. He just got done telling us in the media that they're not covering the actual evidence. And hey, Jim just told me that too. Now look.
I can't give you all these affidavits, because if I do, these people will be harassed.
Oh, I don't even want to hear that. I know what he's going to say next. And you know what? I think they do deserve to be harassed and more. What this guy deserves, I can't say.
A very fine woman who is willing to allow me to give you her name. I can't give you all these affidavits, because if I do, these people will be harassed.
Can you give us one? Will he give us one?
They may lose their job. They will lose their friends. We've lost lawyers in this case because they've been threatened. We've had lawyers that need protection. What's going on in this country is horrible.
Yes.
And the censorship that you're imposing is making it worse. But Jesse Jacob is an adult citizen and a resident of the state of Michigan.
And so he's, I can guess he's just going to read what she said. You know what that's called? It's called an anecdote. We're very familiar with that in the diet community. More comments coming in here. Oh, let's see. Jim says, it was obvious they were frauding the mail-in ballots. Where is it obvious? You're the one who is biased for thinking it's obvious just because you hear someone say something, and you're more likely to believe it if you're already biased towards that side. That's the way it works. I'm an expert in human psychology. I have been for 35 years. I've gotten too good at this. Jerry says, Jim is drinking the Trump Kool-Aid. Trump is the Kool-Aid man. We have found the source. Jim says, which is why France outlawed mail-in ballots. Maybe they couldn't make it work. That's their system, not ours. He said, why would Trump reveal his court strategy before going to court? Why would they have this press conference on TV? Who's got an answer for that? Why is this on TV? It should be in court. That's what I said a few minutes back. Why are Trump's betting odds increasing every day? What does that mean? Trump will win, you will cry. I don't even like Trump. I've heard that one too. I've heard that many times. I'm not even a vegan. but. That's a strategy for manipulating your listener by saying, "Oh, you're not even on that side." Seen that so many times. Oh, you think it's not okay to harass whistleblowers? Is it okay to kidnap governors and kill them? Yes, Trump is the evil. He has caused the woman from Michigan. That's what he calls her. That woman from Michigan could have been killed by his army. Look up Trump Army if you've never heard of that. Jim, type in the word sociopath into Google and see what the definition is. The reason I don't get viewers is because I tell people the truth. People aren't interested in the bland truth. They like crazy stuff. That's why most of the popular YouTubers have some kind of crazy thing about them. Either they weigh 500 pounds, or they say racist stuff. Let's see. There's, or they say just, you know the type.
Employee of the city of Detroit for decades. I know her age, but she can tell you her age. She was assigned to voting duties in September, and she was trained by the city of Detroit.
Oh no, I forgot to mention. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I was making videos explaining how popularity works, and going through particular YouTubers, showing why they're actually popular. I am an expert. For 4 years, I've been an expert in popularity. It's basically human psychology. And I specialize in YouTube popularity. Check out those videos. Search my channel for the word popularity.
Right. And the state of Michigan.
And then look at the comments. And you'll see that no one has refuted anything I've said in those videos. On and 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 on. BS and more BS and more BS and more BS. More BS, more BS, more BS. Morbid ass, more BS, morbid ass.
Have their lives torn apart by the goons on the other side. We don't do that to them.
Wow. Here comes opposite land.
And I'd like you to...
See, I tried to... You can't win a debate against someone who's in opposite land.
That it's signed under penalties of perjury. We have 100 more of these. I can't show them to you because those people don't want to be harassed. They don't want to have their lives torn apart.
Can you show them to a jury? And it's all bullshit. I know they're Trump supporters. I've been studying these assholes for 4 years. They're simply the lowlifes of our society. They are the sociopaths. They're the jerks in high school, the bullies, and they look like it. And you know, there's nothing we can do. Okay, here's opposite land.
Because those people don't want to be harassed. They don't want to have their lives torn apart by the goons on the other side. We don't do that to them. They've done that to a lot of our people. They've done it for...
No, the total opposite of the truth. That's when you just punch somebody out, when they do something like that. You do more than that. This is why wars happen. It's because of people like him. People cannot cooperate with each other and live in peace with each other because of this element. Let's see if I got more comments. So Jim's now saying I'm boring and uninteresting. I'm the opposite of that. Boring and uninteresting is most YouTube channels. So much boredom. I don't even watch YouTube anymore. It's boring. The reason I keep going without many viewers is because I know I'm so good at it. I'm just compelled to continue doing this. I'm saying things that no one else says. And I'm surprised. Where are all the people saying this stuff? Jerry says, I have one of the best YouTube channels on the internet. One of the very best. And that's right. That's right. It's just right there. But you can't convince somebody who's crazy. Sounds like he's giving evidence right now. Sounds like. But he's not. He's showing pieces of paper. And I've seen the Trump team's papers. Blank papers. We've seen this in video. It's people like you that are obvious bullshit. But there's so much of you that you are ruining society. He's reading affidavit accounts. Yeah, so? That's evidence. Yeah, I never said there wasn't evidence. I said there's no proof. Evidence doesn't cut it. I have a saying. I've been saying it for so many years. There is evidence for everything. Anything you could imagine or make up. You could also find evidence for it. I tried to explain this to it. No, I didn't. I didn't think I had to explain it to the senior scientist that I debated. The guy was just clowning himself. So you fast forward the part. No. Let's see. Jerry says this is all hearsay evidence. That is correct. It's hearsay. Jury trial doesn't even apply. You don't know what you are talking about. Do you know what an affidavit is? What is an affidavit? Are they? Yeah, they're sworn to tell the truth in it. Is that what it is? In which case, well, let's see it. When we go? He's just saying that they have them. Let's see it. This has never happened before. Jim, why has this never happened before in U.S. history? Where all of a sudden you got these types of people who lie and cheat. as fake as her smile, as fake as the hair dye, his hair color, which we're going to see dripping off later on. But you can't convince people of things. That's one reason I don't make diet videos much anymore. Might as well move away from that. What I'm going to eventually do is just teach people who are already into it. Not try to convince people, but just teach people. What the heck happened?
Carl, I didn't know we were having dinner tonight.
You are.
Dandruff. Keep dandruff from ruining date night. Carl and I go everywhere together.
We got to go back to it. He's not going to show us. He didn't show us any of this.
That it's tolerated, and it's tolerated because you condone it in the press.
It's Jim who condones and tolerates this. That's why we have these people. They stole the 2016 election. Otherwise, none of this would be having to be happening. And we wouldn't still have to be wearing masks.
And it shouldn't happen to a Republican or a Democrat. A lawyer shouldn't have to withdraw from a case because he's
See, have you figured out why this is on TV instead of court? It's so he can do sick, evil stuff like what he's doing here. This is all propaganda. That's why it's on TV. And they're not even trying to win the election. He is just working for a huge amount of money. He's getting paid by Trump to do this. Now, why is Trump paying him? Well, Trump may only want to stay president to avoid prison, but Trump is setting up a situation where he can take advantage of this. Trump is going to go out bigger than he came in. It has always been about popularity for him. He gets this fan base and he uses them. Like he's using them, he's conning money out of them. I hope you've heard of that. I don't have to explain that to you. That's amazing.
center where they were counting ballots. The people thought it was food, so they all ran to the truck. It wasn't food. It was thousands and thousands of ballots. And the ballots were in garbage cans. They were in...
There should be some proof of that. But see, they're not going to have proof. I already know what's going on here. This is all hearsay. It's made up hearsay for the purpose of manipulating U.S. culture, dividing people. You will never see the proof of any of this. I'm familiar with liars.
We will address a little bit later, Dominion. And here's what they jointly swear to. That every ballot that they could see,
But they won't get in trouble. What they're swearing on, they're swearing they saw something that they thought was suspicious. Right? That's all it is. They can't get in trouble for that.
thing they could hear, these were ballots for Biden. When they saw a ballot, these were ballots only for Biden, meaning there was...
This is just really sick. This is sick. If this was legit, if these stories were legit, Trump wouldn't have the most clownish lawyer in the country. The others left. They got out of there They didn't want to be associated with this. They know it's bullshit. This channel even knows it's bullshit. At least some of this channel knows. Even him. He said, they're not going to be able to turn this around. They don't seem to have anything. This is all a show.
Twice. 3 times. I didn't see that. I don't know that, but for the fact that 3 American citizens are willing to swear to it. And we're not going to let them go.
We've seen this, though. We got a video of that someone took. They walked up to some people on the sidewalk emptying a voting one of those voting collection boxes. And nothing came of that. These are Trump got his base to be suspicious, to see things and make things of it. And these are not experts. They don't know what they're seeing. If someone was going to be doing some election fraud, they wouldn't be doing it in plain sight. Lowlifes. That is all they are. And there's way too many of them.
Court and do that? We're going to let this election go by when they're all...
We're not. There will be hellfire if they steal this election for Trump. It's all over. We're not having this. It's not happening. May he get the coronavirus and die really soon. That's what I pray for. It just makes me feel better to know that these people are super old and will die within just a few years.
In this case, 60 witnesses that can prove what I'm saying to you and other acts of fraud?
No, they can't. When are we going to see the proof? Oh, there's people saying that they're just stalling and dragging this out. It's starting to look that way. Meanwhile, people are dying because they are dragging it out. More comments. And it's just going to be more crap, isn't it? There's a new person. Put on my glasses. What is your issue other than your political bias? He read it. You fast forward. I'm fast forwarding you, Jim. New person, high carburetor. We'll see what happens with the election by December 14. That's what I was saying last week. I was telling people December 14, the official results will be finalized. Yep. Yeah, we're fine for now. But damage is being done here. Why do you say this would go to a jury trial? Well, I don't know what kind of trial. It should go to a jury trial. Trump is not going to prison if he is. Name the crimes. Oh, I see what you're saying. You are crazy. Jim Rogers comes back. Michigan has already delayed certification. Yeah, that was some big news today. After threats were allegedly made, Jim Rogers, it's more lies. No, the threats were made against children of Democrats. That's proven news from a year ago. We've got that on tape. You have not paid attention to Trump for the last... Have you not? Yes, I have. For the last 4 years. The man does not like to lose, right? Yeah, and we can see that. Ask God for forgiveness. He has serious character flaws. Yes. I've been trying to convince people of that for about 2.5 years. You're asking me if I'm serious. About what? And what is on video? Yeah, they have a lot of things on video that they thought looked suspicious, and then they were explained.
It's a lot better than Joe Biden has ever done on anything. He doesn't answer questions, much less give you sworn affidavits. Wisconsin had a very small margin. 20,000. And in the state of Wisconsin.
Fast forwarding. This is crazy. Yeah, this stuff isn't worth watching. It's more just the same crap.
In terms of provable illegal ballots.
Prove it. They haven't proved a thing yet. And again, I ask, why would this be happening for the first time in U.S. history? What's happening for the first time in U.S. history is this. Trumpism. The guy is a nut, and it's provable. He will never take the test. He won't take an IQ test. We'll never see that. We'll never see his taxes.
Just to look at the lawsuits.
Oh, here it comes. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, just before this video I'm making, I put together a thumbnail for it, and I thought it's worth getting pictures of this, and so I did a search for the new pictures of this press conference on the internet. I just started laughing. It only gets crazier. Here we go.
And we have a significant number of allegations in the state of Virginia. I don't know yet whether the number in Virginia will reach the number that can turn the election. In the states that we have indicated in red, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, we more than double the number of votes needed to overturn the election in terms of provable illegal ballots. All you got to do to find out if I'm misleading you at all is to look at the lawsuits. Look what's alleged. Look at the affidavits. Maybe we can supply more affidavits. In order to do it, I have to get permission from the people. But in the materials I have here, there are at least 10 that come from citizens. We have 1,000 at least, and we're getting more every day. And there are other aspects of this fraud that, at this point, I really can't reveal. This is really enough. It's enough to.
Really can't reveal. You know what? Something I haven't said, but I'm willing to say more than most people and put myself out there at the risk of a big risk. Let's say there was an organized fraud. You know what I say to people like Jim who support Trump? Too bad. If you're being screwed, then good. I hope it works, because you have screwed us and this country. And there's just no way, even if there was fraud, you are not putting Trump back in office. We're not taking another 4 years. We just aren't.
Overturn any election. It's disgraceful what happened, and I'll conclude by asking you to just think about this for a minute.
What is disgraceful was Trump's administration. It's ending in 2 months. He's being removed one way or another. We are not going to take it anymore.
November 3rd, when they were going to count this new kind of ballot, this mail-in ballot.
Let's get to the next person. Okay, let's see how she starts off.
Voter fraud. I'll let Sydney describe that to you.
Thank you, Rudy. What we are really dealing with here and uncovering more by the day is the massive influence of communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the interference with our elections here in the United States.
Wait. This sounds a little familiar. Didn't we hear something about Russia for the last 4 years? Actually, over 4 years ago, we were hearing somebody mention Russia a lot. That was Trump. He's the one that started it all. Got more comments in. I'll take you all on. Serious about people are dying because they are dragging out the elections. Yes. Don't you watch the news? Or do you watch Fox? You watch Trump news? Newsmax? One America News? It's too bad. If they prove, you'll just say it's a lie. There you go. You see, you are projecting into the future. This is what you guys do. You're projecting into the future. You're saying what I will do in the future. I've been pointing that kind of behavior out to my audience for the last few weeks. That's what you have to do. I am different from other people. Even people on my side, I'm different from. So you just met somebody different that you really can't predict. I agree it's good to ask, show me the evidence. The Rudy Giuliani meltdown. You're a bad, despicable person. No, I'm a vegan. I'm a super ethical person. See, and you just showed that you're in opposite land. There it is. You are, see, you can't deal with these kind of people. They're just rotten people. No, I want to save democracy.